Have you ever felt a tingling sensation? Or numbness in your hands or legs? Now, if you're over 60 or caring for someone who is, today's topic is something you should pay close attention to. My name is Dr. Amba Carter, and on this channel, I share simple, practical health insights to help you stay strong, informed, and independent, especially as you get older. Maybe it felt like pins and needles. Maybe it went away after a few minutes, so you didn't think much of it. But here's the truth. While numbness can sometimes be harmless, in many cases, especially after 60, it can be your body's way of telling you that something isn't quite right. And ignoring it could allow a small issue to slowly become a bigger one over time. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 7 important things that numbness in your hands and legs could mean, explained in a simple, clear way, so you can better understand what your body may be trying to tell you. And before we begin, if you find this kind of information helpful, make sure to subscribe. This channel is here to give you clear, reliable health guidance to help you take better care of yourself as you age. Also, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from. It's always great to see people from different places coming together to learn and take control of their health. Now let's start with the first thing numbness could be pointing to, and it's something many people overlook: poor circulation. One of the most common reasons for numbness in the hands and legs, especially after the age of 60, is reduced circulation. Now, circulation simply refers to how well blood is flowing through your body. Your blood carries oxygen and nutrients to your tissues, including your nerves, muscles, and skin. When circulation is working properly, everything receives the support it needs to function normally. But when circulation becomes less efficient, certain areas, particularly your hands and feet, may not receive enough blood flow. And this is often where numbness begins. You might notice that your hands feel cold more often than they used to. Or your feet may feel slightly numb after sitting or lying down for a while. Some people describe it as a tingling sensation, while others feel a kind of dull heaviness. Now, in many cases, this can happen temporarily. For example, if you sit in one position for too long. But if it happens frequently or without a clear reason, it may be a sign that your circulation is not as strong as it once was. As we age, blood vessels can naturally become less flexible. There may also be a buildup of plaque in the arteries over time, which can narrow the pathways that blood uses to travel. This doesn't happen overnight, it develops gradually, and that's why the signs can be subtle at first. Another thing to consider is activity level. If you're not moving as much during the day, blood flow can slow down. Movement helps push blood through your system, so long periods of sitting can contribute to that feeling of numbness or tingling. The good news is that there are simple ways to support better circulation. Regular, gentle movement, such as walking, can make a noticeable difference. Even small actions like stretching your hands and feet or changing positions regularly can help improve blood flow. Staying hydrated is also important, as proper fluid levels support healthy circulation. Now, it's also important to know when to pay closer attention. If numbness is persistent, worsening, or accompanied by other symptoms, such as pain, swelling, or changes in skin color, it's important to seek medical advice. Because in some cases, circulation issues can be linked to underlying conditions that need attention. The key takeaway here is simple. Numbness is not always just part of aging. Sometimes it's your body's way of telling you that blood flow is not as strong as it should be. And the earlier you recognize that, the better you can respond to it. Because good circulation supports not only comfort, but overall health. Nerve compression. Another very common cause of numbness in the hands and legs is something known as nerve compression. This simply means that a nerve is being pressed or restricted in some way. Your nerves are responsible for carrying signals between your brain and the rest of your body. They allow you to feel sensations like touch, temperature, and movement. But when a nerve is compressed, those signals can become disrupted, and that's when you may start to feel numbness, tingling, or even weakness in certain areas. One of the most familiar examples of this is when your hand or leg falls asleep. This often happens when you sit or lie in a position that puts pressure on a nerve. After a few minutes, you may notice tingling or numbness. Once you move and relieve that pressure, the sensation usually returns to normal. But as we get older, nerve compression can become more frequent or longer lasting. This is because the structures around the nerves, such as muscles, joints, and discs in the spine, can change over time. For example, conditions like arthritis can lead to narrowing of the spaces where nerves pass. This can place ongoing pressure on the nerves. In the hands, a common example is carpal tunnel syndrome. This occurs when a nerve in the wrist becomes compressed, leading to numbness, tingling, or weakness in the fingers. In the legs, nerve compression can occur in the lower back. If a nerve in the spine is affected, the sensation may travel down the leg, sometimes all the way to the foot. This is often described as a shooting or tingling sensation. Now, one important thing to understand is that nerve-related numbness often follows a pattern. It may affect specific fingers, part of the hand, or a certain area of the leg, and it may become more noticeable during certain activities or positions. For example, you might notice numbness in your hands while holding a phone, reading, or sleeping, or in your legs after standing or walking for a period of time. So what can help? First, paying attention to posture and positioning can make a difference. Avoid staying in one position for too long. Make small adjustments throughout the day to reduce pressure on your nerves. Gentle stretching and movement can also help relieve tension around the affected areas. In some cases, supportive devices, such as wrist supports, may be recommended. But if numbness becomes persistent, worsens, or is accompanied by weakness or pain, it's important to seek medical advice, because ongoing nerve compression may need further evaluation and treatment. The key message here is this: not all numbness comes from circulation. Sometimes it's the nerves themselves sending a signal that something is pressing on them. And understanding that difference is an important step in knowing how to respond. Vitamin deficiency, especially vitamin B12. Another important and often overlooked cause of numbness in the hands and legs is a vitamin deficiency, particularly a lack of vitamin B12. Now, vitamin B12 plays a key role in keeping your nerves healthy. It helps maintain the protective covering around your nerves, which allows signals to travel smoothly between your brain and the rest of your body. When your body doesn't have enough B12, those nerve signals can become disrupted. And one of the first signs of that disruption can be numbness or tingling in the hands and feet. What makes this especially important after the age of 60 is that your body's ability to absorb vitamin B12 can decrease over time. Even if you are eating foods that contain B12, your body may not be absorbing it as efficiently as it once did. This means that a deficiency can develop slowly, often without obvious warning signs at first. You might begin to notice subtle changes: a slight tingling in your fingertips, a numb feeling in your feet when you wake up, or a sensation that something just doesn't feel quite right. Over time, if the deficiency continues, these symptoms can become more noticeable. In some cases, people may also experience fatigue, weakness, or difficulty with balance. Now, the challenge is that these symptoms are often mistaken for normal aging. Many people simply assume that these changes are something they have to live with. But in reality, a vitamin deficiency is something that can often be identified and addressed. Foods such as meat, fish, eggs, and dairy products are good sources of vitamin B12. However, for some individuals, especially older adults, dietary intake alone may not be enough. In those cases, a healthcare provider may recommend supplements or other forms of support. The important thing here is awareness. If you are experiencing ongoing numbness, it's worth considering whether a nutritional factor could be involved. A simple blood test can often help determine if your vitamin levels are where they should be. And if they're not, taking steps to correct that can make a meaningful difference. Because when your nerves receive the support they need, they can function more effectively. And that can reduce or even eliminate some of those uncomfortable sensations. So the key takeaway is this: numbness is not always caused by circulation or pressure on the nerves. Sometimes, it's related to what your body is missing. And recognizing that possibility is an important step toward improving your overall health. Diabetes and nerve damage, neuropathy. Another common cause of numbness in the hands and legs, particularly after the age of 60, is nerve damage related to diabetes, often referred to as neuropathy. Now, diabetes affects how your body manages blood sugar levels. When blood sugar remains consistently high over time, it can begin to affect various parts of the body, including the nerves. This type of nerve damage does not happen suddenly. It develops gradually, and in many cases, the first signs appear in the hands and feet. You might notice a tingling sensation, a burning feeling, or a kind of numbness that makes it harder to feel temperature or touch. Some people describe it as wearing invisible gloves or socks. Now, what makes this especially important is that these changes can affect your awareness of your surroundings. For example, if you cannot fully feel your feet, you may not notice small injuries, pressure points, or changes in temperature. Over time, this can increase the risk of complications if not addressed. Another important point is that not everyone immediately connects numbness with diabetes. Some people may not even realize they have elevated blood sugar levels. That's why symptoms like numbness can sometimes be an early sign that something needs attention. In addition to numbness, some people may also experience sharp or shooting pain, increased sensitivity, or a feeling of weakness in the affected areas. These symptoms can vary from person to person. Now, if diabetes is already part of your medical history, managing blood sugar levels becomes especially important. Keeping those levels within a healthy range can help reduce further damage to the nerves. If you have not been diagnosed with diabetes but are experiencing persistent numbness, it may be worth discussing with your healthcare provider. Simple tests can help determine whether blood sugar levels are within a healthy range. The key here is early awareness. The sooner nerve-related changes are recognized, the better the chances of managing them effectively. Lifestyle factors can also play a role. Healthy eating, regular physical activity, and consistent medical care can all support better outcomes. So the message here is not to create alarm, but to create understanding. Numbness in your hands and legs may be your body's way of signaling that your nerves are being affected. And in some cases, that signal is connected to blood sugar levels. Paying attention to that signal and taking it seriously can help you protect your long-term health. Because when it comes to nerve health, early action makes a real difference. Medication side effects. Another possible cause of numbness in the hands and legs, and one that is often overlooked, is the effect of certain medications. As we get older, it becomes more common to take medications regularly. These may be prescribed for blood pressure, heart conditions, cholesterol, pain management, or other ongoing health concerns. And while these medications are often necessary and helpful, they can sometimes have side effects that are not immediately obvious. One of those side effects, in some cases, can be numbness or tingling sensations. This happens because certain medications can affect how your nerves function. Some may alter nerve signaling directly. Others may influence circulation, fluid balance, or the way your body processes nutrients, all of which can indirectly affect nerve health. Now, this doesn't mean that medications are harmful or should be avoided. In most cases, the benefits of taking prescribed medication outweigh the risks. But it does mean that being aware of potential side effects is important. One of the challenges is that these symptoms can develop gradually. You might not immediately connect a new sensation, like numbness in your fingers or feet, with a medication you've been taking, especially if that medication has been part of your routine for some time. Another factor to consider is the combination of medications. Many older adults take more than one medication, and sometimes the interaction between them can contribute to side effects. This is why regular medication reviews with your healthcare provider are so important. If you notice new or worsening numbness, it's worth asking, could this be related to my medication? This is not about questioning your treatment. It's about making sure your current plan is still the best fit for your needs. In some cases, your doctor may adjust the dosage, switch to a different medication, or monitor the symptoms more closely. But these changes can only happen if the issue is identified. It's also important not to stop any medication on your own without medical guidance. Suddenly stopping certain medications can have serious consequences. Instead, always discuss your concerns with a healthcare professional. Another helpful step is simply staying aware. Pay attention to changes in how your body feels. If something new appears, take note of when it started and whether anything else has changed around that time. This information can be very helpful when discussing symptoms with your doctor. The key takeaway here is this: numbness is not always caused by a medical condition itself. Sometimes it can be related to how your body is responding to treatment. And recognizing that possibility can help you and your healthcare provider make better decisions together. Because the goal is not just treatment, it's finding the right balance for your overall well-being. Spine and back problems. Another important cause of numbness, particularly in the legs but sometimes also affecting the hands, is related to the spine. Your spine is more than just a structure that supports your body. It also protects the spinal cord, which is a major pathway for nerve signals traveling between your brain and the rest of your body. From the spinal cord, nerves branch out and extend to different areas, including your arms, hands, legs, and feet. If something affects these nerves at the level of the spine, it can lead to sensations like numbness, tingling, or even weakness. As we age, changes in the spine become more common. These changes may include wear and tear on the discs between the vertebrae, narrowing of the spaces where nerves pass, or the development of conditions such as arthritis. When these changes place pressure on the nerves, it can interfere with how signals are transmitted. In the lower back, this may lead to numbness or tingling that travels down the leg. Some people describe this as a shooting sensation that starts in the back and moves downward. In the neck, similar pressure can affect the nerves that travel to the arms and hands, leading to numbness in those areas. Now, one of the key signs that numbness may be related to the spine is the pattern of the sensation. It often follows a specific path. For example, you may feel numbness along one side of the leg or in certain fingers of the hand. You may also notice that the sensation changes with movement, becoming more noticeable when you sit, stand, or turn in a certain way. In some cases, numbness may be accompanied by back or neck pain. In others, the numbness may appear on its own. Either way, it's something worth paying attention to. So what can help? Maintaining good posture is one important factor. Avoiding long periods in the same position can also reduce pressure on the spine. Gentle movement, stretching, and staying physically active within your comfort level can support overall spinal health. If symptoms persist, worsen, or are accompanied by weakness or difficulty with movement, it's important to seek medical advice. Your healthcare provider may recommend imaging or further evaluation to better understand what's happening. The key message here is this: numbness is not always coming from the area where you feel it. Sometimes the source is higher up, in the spine, where the nerves begin. And understanding that connection can help you take the right steps toward addressing the issue. Because when the source is identified, the path to improvement becomes much clearer. Warning signs of a more serious condition. The final point, and one that is very important to understand, is that numbness in the hands or legs can sometimes be a warning sign of a more serious underlying condition. Now, it's important to approach this calmly. Not every case of numbness means something serious is happening. In many situations, the causes we've already discussed, such as circulation, nerve compression, or vitamin deficiency, are responsible. But there are times when numbness may signal something that requires more immediate attention. For example, sudden numbness on one side of the body can be associated with a stroke. This may include numbness in the arm, leg, or face, often on one side, and may be accompanied by other symptoms such as difficulty speaking, confusion, or trouble with balance. In situations like this, timing is critical. Seeking medical help quickly can make a significant difference. Another possibility is a transient ischemic attack, sometimes referred to as a mini-stroke. This can cause temporary numbness or weakness that may come and go. Even if the symptoms pass, it should never be ignored. It is often a warning sign that the body needs attention. There are also other conditions that can affect the nervous system and lead to numbness. These may develop more gradually, and symptoms may appear over time. What's important is recognizing when something feels different from your usual experience. Here are a few signs that numbness should not be ignored. If it appears suddenly without a clear reason. If it affects only one side of the body. If it is accompanied by weakness or difficulty moving. If it comes with confusion, dizziness, or trouble speaking. Or if it continues to worsen over time. These are situations where it is especially important to seek medical advice promptly. Now, this is not meant to create fear. It's about understanding your body's signals. Because numbness is not just a sensation, it's a message. And sometimes, that message is telling you that something needs attention sooner rather than later. The key is to stay aware. If something feels unusual, persistent, or different from what you've experienced before, trust that instinct and follow up. because early action can make a meaningful difference. And in many cases, addressing a problem early can help prevent more serious complications down the line. So while numbness can often be explained by common causes, it should never be dismissed without thought. Because your body has a way of communicating with you, and learning to listen to those signals is one of the most important parts of protecting your health.